Krishna Hare 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 Rama Hare Rama Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama Hare Rama 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 Hare 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 Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama Hare Rama Rama Hare 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 Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama Hare Rama 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 Hare Hare Jai Prabhupada Jai Prabhupada Prabhupada Jai Prabhupada Jai Prabhupada Jai Prabhupada Jai Prabhupada Jai Prabhupada Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna.
Welcome to our weekly Bhagavad Gita and Kirtan program. So today we have Shri Prahlada Prabhu who will give class on the Bhagavad Gita as it is. And also, so he is very well known in the larger Hare Krishna community for leading very nice kirtans like we just did right now. Congregational chanting of the holy name, and he's also well established in the material life, like he's a professor of management at the, I forgot which school. Okay, we won't tell you, but in one of the universities in the New York area. And also today we want to dedicate the program to two very nice devotees of Krishna who recently passed, Kishori Mataji and Bhagavad Prasad Prabhu. So I don't know if Manjari Mataji, if you want to tell a few words about them. Or
Bhagavad Prabhu, he is a devotee for a really long time, I think about 30 years.
In Guyana.
In Guyana, he's from Guyana, and on Janmashtami he served. And then on Prabhupada Appearance Day, I think he wasn't feeling well, so he went to the hospital, but he wasn't happy, so he left the hospital, came back to the temple, dressed Prabhupada and everything, and then he started complaining about pain, and another devotee took him to the hospital, and then he passed away in the car. A devotee chanted in his ears, but he dedicated his life serving, like the temple, preaching, cooking, pujari service, taking care of the cows, the greenhouse. Like he was an all-rounded devotee, and so it was like a big blow to the community in Guyana that he left his body. And then Kishori Mataji, she passed away from cancer, I think 2 weeks ago. So she used to serve in Radha Govinda temple during Ramabhadra Prabhu's time. She served for many, many years. She was very dedicated to Radha Govinda. And I heard in her last breath, she had Radha Govinda picture in front of her when she passed away. Yeah, so two very stalwart devotees, we like to dedicate this program to them.
Thank you. The verse that we're going to read today is very fitting to this theme of remembering devotees who have recently nice arrangement. It's nice when we see Krishna arranging things in a perfect way.
So, do you want
Okay. Yeah, it's okay for you. So, I request you all to either take out your handy copies of the Bhagavad Gita that you may keep either in your back pocket or your bag, or there's another option for the modern world. Get out your smartphone and go to Vedabase. What is it? Vedabase. IO VEDABASE .io. And once you're there at vedabase.io, you can select Bhagavad Gita. There are a list of books there that you can easily. Bhagavad Gita being one of them. So your screen will look something like this. These are books that you can choose from. And then on the top left-hand corner, Bhagavad Gita. Scroll down to Chapter 8. It's called Attaining the Supreme. And today we're going to read verse 6. And that's the verse that was given to me to speak on. And one that is very, very fitting to remembering these devotees who have recently passed away, Bhagavata and Bhagavata Purana, is it?
Bhagavad Purana.
Yeah.
And
And Kishori. Okay. So just double checking. Oh no, sorry, he told me 8:10.
whatever?
Yeah, okay, 8:10. So 2 more verses on. 6, 7, a few more verses on. All right, we're there.
Okay.
We arrived.
Yeah.
8:10. I'll read the Sanskrit. Pranaya kale manasachalena bhaktyo yukto yoga balena cheva pruvor madhye pranamavesha samyak satam param purusham apaiti divyam. Who would like to read the translation?
One who, at the time of death, fixes his life ear between the eyebrows, and by the strength of yoga, with an undeviating mind, engages himself in remembering the Supreme Lord in full devotion, will certainly attain to the Supreme Personality of Godhead.
Okay, who'd like to read the next 2 sentences? We'll read 2 sentences at a time.
In this verse, it is clearly stated that at that time of death, the mind must be fixed in devotion to Supreme Personality of Godhead. For those practiced in yoga, it is recommended that they raise the life force between the eyebrows to an Ajna chakra.
Okay, that's to
Okay, and then
somebody else, the practice.
The practice of Satkakra Yoga involving meditation on the 6 chakras, is suggested here. Continue.
Yep.
A pure devotee does not practice such yoga, but because he is always engaged in Krishna consciousness, at death he can remember the Supreme Personality of Godhead by his grace.
Next.
This is explained in verse 14. The particular use of the word yoga, bel, is significant in this verse because with practice of yoga, whatever chakra yoga or bhakti yoga, one cannot come to the transcendental state of being at the time of death.
One cannot suddenly remember the Supreme Lord at death. One must have practice some yoga system, especially the system of Bhakti Yoga. Since one's mind at death is very disturbed, one should practice transcendence through yoga during one's life.
Thank you all. So this chapter 8, called Attaining the Supreme, Krishna is teaching Arjuna, we can say, life's most important lesson. There is a proverb in Bengal. They say that your sadhana, your spiritual practice, will be tested at the moment of death. Spiritual practice called sadhana, and any practice that you have, then there might be an exam, right? You study through the term and then you have your final exam. So spiritual life, the practice of spiritual life, it is tested. Your final exam is death. How strong has your sadhana been? How disciplined has your sadhana been? How effective has your sadhana been? If the practice has been done well, then you will be able to keep the mind steady and attain the Supreme. If the practice has not been done well, then the mind becomes distressed at the moment of death, or as death nears, we become afraid. And we can't fix the mind, rather the mind flickers. That is the nature of the mind. Chanchala. Chanchala means flickering. The mind in a lot of yoga discipline talk, discussion, the mind is compared to a monkey, jumping from one thing, one tree, one rooftop, one wall, one gate. If you've spent any time in Vrindavan, you see so many monkeys. They're never still, always jumping from one thing to another, chasing one thing to the next, jumping, shaking, falling, fighting. And so our minds are like that. How long can we keep our minds steady? Earlier, in verse 6, Krishna has said, Yam yam vapi smaram bhavam tyajati anta kalevaram. Whatever you think about, wherever your mind is at the moment of death, it will carry you to your next destination, will carry you to your next life. So if the mind is wavering in the material condition, then we stay in the material realm. But the yogi wants to extract themselves, elevate themselves from the material condition. Why? Because the yogi has come to understand that the soul is not satisfied here in the material nature. The soul longs to be peaceful, to be satisfied, to be happy, but it is not possible here in the material nature because of an incompatibility. The incompatibility is that the nature of the soul is spirit, and the material nature itself is opposite to that. It is matter. But in a conditioned state, that when the spirit identifies with matter, then it tries to get happiness through things. So the idea is things will make me happy. This thing or that thing or another thing. But something will satisfy me. And I will keep searching through different things until I find that thing that will eventually provide me fulfillment. But in fact, nothing can satisfy, because the soul is by nature spirit. What the soul longs for is relationship with spirit, with the Supreme Spirit. Even you and I, as we interact with one another, we say that eventually, ultimately, the soul is looking for love. And so even in our search for love, we chase after bodies. We mistake the other. We mistake ourselves for the body. We mistake the other also for a body, for matter, for flesh. And yet when the soul leaves that body, it no longer has any attractiveness. The attractive quality of the body is in fact the presence of the soul. Who is attracted to a dead body? The most handsome man, the most beautiful woman. The world may admire them. Their photos may appear in glamour magazines. But when the soul has left that body, there are no more photos. Closed casket, buried beneath the ground. That which appeared to be attractive has lost its luster, has lost its beauty. And so we say that which is beautiful is in fact the soul. But we don't see each other as souls. We see each other as bodies, and we say fat body, thin body, skinny body, tall body, small body. We are judging people. we don't say body, we judge by proportion, size, color, all these different aspects of the body. Accepting, rejecting. But in fact, the person there is spirit, is the soul. So as long as the mind is identified with matter and trying to enjoy matter, it is in this flickering state because nothing satisfies. And so it jumps like a monkey here and there and nowhere and everywhere. And so the moment of death then is a precarious condition. You continue flickering in your repeated birth and death, samsara, in the material nature. And so this chapter, Attaining the Supreme, is about elevating the soul being freed from the material condition and attaining the spiritual world, attaining the supreme abode, attaining a relationship with the Supreme Person. That yearning, that longing of the soul, that search, it is a search for the Supreme. It is a yearning to return home, Prabhupada would say, back home, back to Godhead. So how to achieve this? There is a sadhana, there is a practice. Any great achievement that you wish for, you must practice. You must discipline yourself. If you want to become proficient in playing an instrument, practice. If you want to become proficient in some sport, some athletic pursuit, practice, proficient in language, practice, whatever it is that you seek to achieve, discipline, practice. So then why would that not apply to spiritual life as well? Yes, it is natural, but we are conditioned. And so to retain our natural state, our natural position, there is a requirement of disciplined practice. Your musical ability, your linguistic ability might be natural, they might be innate. Still, some practice is required to bring that potential to manifest. You might have the potential to be a great dancer, a great performer, athletic, musical, scientific, whatever it may be. Still, a disciplined practice is required. And so spiritual life, it is natural. It is our natural condition, our natural position. Still, because we're identified with the material nature so strongly, a disciplined practice is required. So in Prabhupada's purport, he refers to two practices, two systems, two paths. What were they? There was one that a bit, the terminology was a bit complex. Yeah. Satchakra. Yeah, good. Thank you. Hold on. Satchakra yoga and bhakti yoga. So let's explore these two. Compare and contrast. What is Satchakra yoga? What is bhakti yoga? Why is Prabhupada discussing these two pathways of disciplined spiritual practice? Let's start with Satchakra yoga. Why is Prabhupada discussing Satchakra yoga in his purport?
It's one of the ways to remember Krishna and death.
Okay. Yeah, thank you. And where is he taking that from? What is it to do with the verse? I guess that's what I'm asking.
It has to do with discipline.
Okay, it has to do with discipline, yeah. There's something specific in the verse.
Meditation on chakras.
Yeah. The verse says something there about fixing what where?
The air
Fixing the life air
between eyebrows.
between the eyebrows. Okay, good.
Is that the same thing? Because this calls Agya chakra, and then they have this Sat chakra yoga.
Yeah,
It's the same thing.
the same thing. That's one of the six.
The yoga.
Thank you for coming, being with us. Stay well. So, Krishna says in the verse, the yogi fixes prana between the life air. Sorry, between the eyebrows. Did I say fixes the life air between the life air? Yeah, that's a tautology. Okay. The Agnya chakra,
So that's it, Agya chakra.
sometimes referred to as the third eye. It's a energy center in the body. So what is that to do then with the Sat Chakra?
I guess the Sat Chakra involves meditation of the 6 chakras. And so that would include the third eye.
Yeah, good. Yeah. So the Agnya Chakra is one of the 6.
Supreme chakra.
No, Sat, Satchitananda, Sat is,
6. Yeah. I mean, there's another one here, 7th.
no, the Satchitananda, this is.
Oh, that's different. Oh, yeah, that's eternal. Yeah.
But Sat is from the
Sad is no, it's different.
So, it's different Sat?
Yeah. Sat is here is the word 6.
Oh.
Sat 7. Sat, anyway, Prabhupada saying 6. So, yeah, so what are the chakras?
Oh my.
Energy centers in the body. There's a base chakra. There's a related to the element of earth. There's a chakra related to the element of water. There's a chakra by the navel related to air, ether. So anyway, you get to hear it's ether related to speech, and also to ether, here to mind, intelligence. Heart chakra, yeah, related to emotion. Earth, water, yeah. Earth, water, fire, air, ether. So air, heart chakra related to air. Mind, intelligence, and then out, transcending ego. So the system of moving the prana, the life air, through the different chakras, it is a yogic discipline, a yogic practice. It is somewhat known in the West. People practice Kundalini yoga, Raja yoga. It involves work with the chakras, and so if you practice this, you can feel that energy move. You can rise that energy. You can feel those different places in the body activate, just by your meditation. So you focus on an area in your body, and then you'll feel dum 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 starts to pulsate. You can lift that to the next point, pulsate there, lift it to the next point. Some pulsation there, and then you can link them all, and you'll feel zoom. They all align, right? Have you practiced this, Meru?
In the past a little.
In the past, yeah. So you can feel zoom. They all link up and align, and you feel your center of your body very centered, very aligned, and alive as well. Some kind of vibrating. And so people practice this, they feel centered, they feel aligned. The mind is being brought out of there into here. And so there is some kind of spiritual experience, channeling of, or let's say concentrating mental energy. The life air is within the body. And so there is a sense of it being a powerful spiritual practice. But that's actually what most people access is very, very periphery, very, very external. Because in the higher level practice, the yogi is learning to raise the life air such they're preparing to leave this world. Going inward, they find they're able to center themselves in the heart region, they're able to find their own spiritual nature. They're also able to experience the presence of God, Paramatma. And then through meditation and service. So that meditation on Paramatma is service, is bhakti. So that's where there's a link between this, and Prabhupada was also, the Krishna also says, Bhaktya Yukto Yoga Beleda. By this bhakti, they become yukta. By finding Paramatma in the heart, they become linked in devotion. And then there, in that devotion, there is a satisfaction. And when it comes time to leave the body, they're able to raise the life air out from the Brahmarandra. This is the chakra at the top of the head. And then the soul leaves the body from the top of the head. Depending which chakra the soul, which gate the soul leaves from, then there's a different destination. So if the soul, in this more esoteric practice, there's an understanding. The soul leaves from the mouth, you're going to the heavenly planets. If the soul leaves from the base chakra, you're going to the lower regions of the universe. If the soul leaves from Brahmarandra, you're going to Brahmaloka. So in a sense, these 7 chakras, they also correspond to 7 planetary systems in the universe. The Vedic cosmology describes 14 planetary systems. But the 7 lower, 7 higher. And so the 7 chakras in the body correspond to the 7 higher regions of the universe as well. So a yogi learns to discipline the life air through meditation practice, and they want to leave from the top of the head and reach Brahmaloka or Brahman, a very high state, spiritual position. Now let's look at what Prabhupada says about Bhakti Yoga. We have discussed this Satchakra Yoga system. Now we should consider. Now we mentioned 6 chakras. Prabhupada mentioned 6, but if you count 7, 6 means up to here. 7th would be that one that gets activated when the soul is leaving the body. All right, so what does Prabhupada say? So I'll just read 2 sentences because we all took turns reading 2 sentences. Now will be my turn. Prabhupada says, the practice of Sat Chakra Yoga involving meditation on the 6 chakras is suggested here. A pure devotee does not practice such yoga. But because he is always engaged in Krishna consciousness, at death he can remember the Supreme Personality of Godhead by his grace. This is explained in verse 14. So this is something that we should consider further, because many of you have been practicing spiritual life under the instruction of, or the guidance of Srila Prabhupada, and you were never taught about Satchakra Yoga or the importance of raising the life air. So you might read this verse and say, this seems to be important, but Prabhupada never spoke about it. These are his words, but he didn't really talk about it in much detail. And the reason why is because it's not important for the Bhakti Yogi. The Bhakti Yogi is applying a related but different practice. And this practice, the key words here are by his grace. The practice that Prabhupada emphasized is Krishna's mercy, attracting Krishna's grace upon us. Because fixing the mind is very difficult. It is very difficult. And if we're going to rely on our own efforts, we don't stand much of a chance on our own efforts alone. Therefore, in Bhakti Yoga, we emphasize attracting Krishna's grace. We serve Krishna. We chant his holy names. We try to remember him. We cultivate love for him. And we have trust and faith that Krishna will be the swift deliverer for his devotee. So these two devotees that we're also remembering today, Bhagavata Purana, Kishori, at the moment of death, I don't think they would have been worried about whether their life air has reached their eyebrows. Right? Let me focus here. I gotta get my life air, my prana, to my eyebrows. That wouldn't have been their concern.
Not when you're in pain.
Huh?
Not when you're in pain.
No, right? Particularly while you're in pain, in the back of a car being driven to a hospital. So their concern would be, let me remember Krishna. Let me remember Krishna. And Krishna will hear me. I remember Krishna, Krishna will remember me. And he will come and lift me up. For the yogi trying to navigate from the Brahmarandra corresponding to Brahmaloka, and then okay, we got to get ourselves to the higher destination.
The yogis, they have their soul left from the bone, and they give up their body basically, but it's not natural death. They choose to give it up.
They choose when to leave. Yeah, very advanced yogis can do that. So for the bhakti yogi, that's, the concern is to remember Krishna. Now, in a sense, this is the easier path. Well, it is definitely the easier path, because we're not depending on our own strength. We're depending on grace, by his grace. So here's a little story, parable, an allegory for us. There's someone at the door. I can let them in. So a man was going through the, all right, the door's open. Someone was going through the forest. They came to a well. This was a dry well, so you'll find these in Indian jungles, probably jungles around the world, but Indian jungles, there are, you might come across a dry well. And so the man slips, falls into the well. Luckily it's dry. He's calling out, help, hoping that somebody will go past and hear his calls, and that they will come searching, and they'll also find that well. They won't fall inside, but they'll help him get out. So this story gets told in different ways. This analogy gets told in different ways. In some versions, as he's slipping, he grabs onto a root from a tree. So he's hanging above the well, holding onto this root. And there are some mice, one black, one white, nibbling at each side of the of the root on each end. So he's hanging there, a root, black mouse, white mouse, nibbling on each side. And so a most precarious position. But then he looks up, there's a tree branch hanging over the well with a beehive. Bzzz. So that's also worried. The bees can come and bite him. But as he's worried about being bitten by the bees, as the ends of the root are getting smaller and smaller, he notices that there are some drops of honey falling from the hive. And so as he's holding his root, bees buzzing about, but then he sees that honey and he stretches his neck out to catch that drop of honey on his tongue, and he thinks, that was great. So sometimes the story is told to describe our condition in the material nature. By holding on to the root, that is our lives. On each side, there is the mouse, the black mouse of the nights. The root, eating our life away. And then the white mouse, the days. Nights and days and nights are making that root, the ends of that root, shorter and shorter, leading to our death. And there are bees buzzing about, all the different troubles and fears and anxieties that sting us. But in between, some drops of honey, we think, it's all worth it.
Incredible story.
I had a good meal. She smiled at me. Right? So these little drops of honey come in between and we feel that life has purpose. Okay, so the man, let's combine these stories. He's hanging there by his root, bees, honey, mice. But someone hears his call, help! And he throws him a rope. He throws him a rope. He's still not saved. He has a rope now before him. But he has to let go of his root. He has to have faith to let go of his root that's getting smaller and smaller, to grab onto that rope and allow himself to be pulled out. So in Bhakti Yoga, we call out Krishna, and Krishna sends a rope of his mercy. We also have to do our part. The rope is there, the mercy is there. We have to hold on to the rope and receive the grace. We have to hold on as we're being pulled out of that well and have trust that this is a more sure form of shelter, place of shelter and protection. Otherwise, the position of the yogi who's trying to get out by their own effort, their own discipline, is compared to the baby monkey holding on to mother monkey. Why? Okay, so you all know how cats carry how a kitten is carried, right? How is a kitten carried? In the mouth of its mother. Mother's strength carries that kitten from one place to the next. How does a monkey carry its young?
The monkey grows up and holds on.
The baby clutched on.
The baby clutches onto the mother. Mother's jumping tree to tree, rooftop to rooftop, wall to wall, fence to fence, and little babies like clutching on for dear life. Sometimes they fall
Oh,
because the baby's not so strong. So the position of the kitten is more secure in the mother's jaws than of the monkey on the front or back or side of its mother as it jumps from place to place. So the position of the yogi is sometimes compared to that monkey. The yogi has to conduct their own discipline, navigate their own way, raising the life air, fixing in the eyebrows, get out of the material nature.
It falls on the mind.
Right.
Yeah. Navigate.
And the bhakta, devotee, sometimes compared to the kitten, but other times compared to the person in the well who holds the rope. Holds the rope. So we have to do our part. Our part is to hold the rope, to have faith, to transfer our security from the root to the rope and hold on as we receive Krishna's grace. So the yoga process is valid. It is an authorized, valid process. Sometimes called a mechanical yoga practice, but when it is combined with bhakti, with devotion, Krishna mentions it here. Bhaktya yukto yoga balena bruvor madhye pranam aveshya samyak. So fixed in devotion, strong disciplined yoga, fixing the mind, the eyebrow, the life area between the eyebrows. Krishna is linking them. Then pure devotional service doesn't rely on the mechanical yoga practice. Pure bhakti, pure devotion emphasizes instead fully taking shelter of Krishna. Fully taking shelter of Krishna through chanting, through sangha like this, through discussing Bhagavad Gita, through reading texts like this, through visiting sacred space such as this center where we are. These are the practices of bhakti that connect us with Krishna and invoke His grace, such that even if the mind is fearful at death, we can still call out, Krishna, I'm afraid. I'm afraid I can't fix my mind on you. Even that. Even now as we chant, we try to fix our mind on the mantra, to hear the mantra as we chant. But every time the mind wanders, we say, Krishna, I'm sorry. Okay, any questions, comments, reflections, insights?
Why is the Ashtanga Yoga considered inferior to Bhakti Yoga, even though both of them are authorized?
Yeah, both are authorized. Why do we consider it inferior? And the reason why we consider it inferior, and the Gita itself, because its highest goal or its highest attainment is included within Bhakti Yoga. And without Bhakti Yoga, that is not achievable through Ashtanga. So, what's another way to say this? So, Karma Yoga is also authorized, Ashtanga Yoga also authorized. They're authorized in that they can help towards the achievement of Bhakti Yoga. But without the presence of bhakti in those practices, they're actually that they can't give that highest opportunity. So it's actually bhakti that makes them relevant or valid. and then bhakti can be practiced independent of them. So they are dependent on bhakti to give their results. Bhakti can give those results independent of those paths.
Sometimes it is said that all these different paths of yogas lead to the same goal.
So yeah, very good question. I like it when you're with us. You're a provocateur. You ask provocative questions for all of our benefit. So sometimes it is said that all of these yogas lead to the same goal. I'm going to go one step even further back, one step below that, and say sometimes it is said that all paths lead to the same goal. Jatamat Tatapat is a famous proverb you hear in Bengal. Whatever the mat, whatever the the school, it's the same path. And from the perspective of, so yeah, we can talk about this in different ways. Okay, you want to add to the conversation?
Maybe. Is it something like you have this like autonomous power, like your own power to get it all aligned, and then the other, like each one, like the other is the divinity and God, helping you, so to speak, bring yourself up. But there's also this other aspect where you're actually like part of the process, and there's just this like balance in between where there is the divine grace pulling you out, but there's also like you're very much a part of the process, and you have these two like hands to choose from.
Yeah, okay, very good. That's a very good insight, and we will speak to that, and then we'll come back to what you said. So you're raising something very important. Effort and grace. So these are two approaches. Do we achieve spiritual perfection by my effort? Do we achieve spiritual perfection by grace? This question has divided spiritual traditions, including Christianity, including some Vaishnava traditions as well. One side emphasizes grace, the other emphasizes effort, and they quarrel with each other. It's by grace. No, it's by you have to be disciplined. No, but our discipline is not enough. It has to be grace. And so this conflict goes on between them. In Christianity, this was the basis for the Protestant Revolution. So the Catholic Church were selling condolences. You could buy basically a certificate from the church which says that you have received grace and you are free of all your sins. And that was being used to fund St. Peter's Basilica in Rome. They needed to collect funds. So they were selling these condolences. You could buy grace, get your certificate, be free of sin. We're giving you we have a sale on this weekend, 20% discount on your condolence. And then Martin Luther, he said, I've been reading the Bible, I can't find anything here about buying condolences, being absolved of sin by paying for it. This is a complete heresy, it's a deviation. And then he gave emphasis to, you need to study the scripture, you need to be disciplined, you need to be pure yourself, you need to be pure in your own thoughts. So the Protestant Revolution was they were protesting a particular emphasis in the Catholic Church at that time. Of course, the Protestant Revolution brought Catholicism back also to closer to the earlier teachings of the Bible. But let me say, in the Sri Vaishnava tradition, this same conflict emerged. You had the Vadagalai and the Tenkalai Sri Vaishnavas, Vaishnava community in South India. The Northerners, who emphasized discipline, study, yoga, and the Southerners, who emphasized prayer, pilgrimage, association, seeing the deities, like all the nice things that Vaishnavas do. And so you can see a distinction in their tilaks. They're the same Sri Vaishnava Sampradaya, but their tilak marking, one is square and one is round. The square ones, well, they're square. They're about discipline. The round one, the southern community, they emphasize more of that grace. The answer, as you said, is in the two together. It's not the monkey, depending on your own strength. It's not the kitten, relying fully on the mother cat's strength. It's the person in the well who's being pulled but also has to hold on, right? So there's our part and God's part together. We show our effort, we show our sincerity, we make the call to receive mercy, and God reciprocates by lifting us up. It's the two together. Thank you. In terms of all paths related to that, or another question? Okay, we'll come to you next. We're going back to the all paths lead to the same goal. So all paths lead to the same goal. It is a famous, it is a common idea. Whenever your spiritual practice will say, oh, that's nice, oh, that's... Today, we don't want to criticize any religion, we don't want to say anything about anyone's beliefs or faith. We say, oh, that's nice, if it makes you happy. But no, all paths do not lead to the same goal, at least immediately. So you get on the plane to Los Angeles, you will not reach Chicago, you will reach Los Angeles. Eventually, I guess, that plane may fly to Chicago one day, but otherwise your direct line will be Los Angeles if you get on the plane flying to Los Angeles. So Krishna says in the Gita, Yanti Deva Vrta Devan, Pitrin Yanti Pratir Vrta, Bhutani Yanti Bhuteja, Yanti Madhyashino Pimam. Those who worship the demigods will reach the demigods. Those who engage in worship of ghosts and spirits will be among such beings. Those who those who worship the ancestors will go to the ancestors. Those who worship me will come to me, Krishna says. So depending on our faith, that will take us to a different destination. If our faith is to achieve higher planetary systems, we can be elevated to that place to enjoy material life at a high level, deluxe, first class material enjoyment, as opposed to coach where we are right now in the earthly realm. Elevated material enjoyment, but material nonetheless. If our faith is with demigods, with ancestors, or let's say our faith is in material life, we stay here in the material realm. Our gods are movie stars and musicians and CEOs, and stay here in human society doing these things. So depending on your faith, your worship will take you to different destinations. in terms of your question, the different yoga paths leading to the same goal. This comes from a verse in the Gita where Krishna, he says, what's the famous verse? Very famous verse.
About the path?
About the paths, yes?
Yeah, it's Krishna says, in whatever way people
Yayatamam prapadyante tamstateva vajamyaham mama vart manuvartante manusya partha sarvashaha.
Yeah,
Do you have the translation?
yes. In whatever way people surrender unto me, I reciprocate accordingly. Everyone follows my path, O son of Pritha,
Yeah.
in all respects.
Yeah, very good. Thank you. So this is a very famous verse of the Gita. It was made famous particularly by a very prominent spiritual teacher, Vivekananda, who spoke at the Parliament of World Religions in 1920 something in Chicago. And there were different religions quarreling with each other. And then he stood up and said, Yayata, according to the Hindu scriptures, Yayata mam prapadyante tamsateva vajamyaham. All paths leads to the same destination. And people applauded him. He said, brothers and sisters, according to the, so he changed the dialogue that was taking place very powerfully on the basis of this verse. The key point here, Krishna is saying, behind all of these endeavors is me, and giving the results of all endeavors is me. Everyone is following my path in all respects because I'm behind. Whatever it is that you desire, whatever it is that you're receiving as a gift, I am behind it. Even if you think you are getting the grace of the demigods, I'm the one empowering the demigods to give you those rewards. Even if, so Krishna, he is behind everything. Now in terms of different yoga practices, they may be approaching Krishna in terms of different aspects. And so in that way they are also relating to him. Different aspects of Krishna. So some yoga practitioners, they want to achieve they want to merge with Brahman. That is an aspect of Krishna. Some yogis, they want to find Paramatma within the heart. That is an aspect of Krishna. In Bhakti Yoga, then we want to serve, we want to have a loving relationship with the personality of Godhead. That is Krishna. Now it is possible for someone who wants to merge with Krishna or to merge with Krishna's spiritual energy to upgrade and to say, I'm getting so much peace in connecting with Krishna's Brahman potency, but I realize there's something even more profound, and that is Krishna's personality. And so there are stories of this. Yogis who are able to elevate themselves from jnana to, or even from karma to jnana to bhakti. So in that sense, then these are also parts of the same, or aspects of the same path, leading to the same goal. But they don't necessarily conclude in the same destination. It'll be an aspect of Krishna that one may achieve, or one may receive the grace, the revelation in the heart to appreciate Krishna's personality, and then upgrade to a higher level relationship Thank you for the question. Now you had something that you wanted to contribute.
Necesito traducir.
I'm gonna try.
Okay.
También que me disculpe porque como no sé mucho inglés, pensé que había dicho que si había otra pregunta y cuando levanté la mano.
He didn't understand when you mentioned next because he doesn't really understand the English, so he thought he was about to say the question.
Uh-huh.
Lo que quiero contar, que mi familia lo sabe, es que yo sé o estoy convencido de que me pasó algo que fue que salí del cuerpo, me abandoné el cuerpo.
So he would like to share a story, and he's convinced that Krishna exists because he felt like he left his body.
Y me siento obligado a explicarlo porque creo que eso va a complacer a Krishna, porque va a ayudar mucho a que la gente sepa más o menos lo que es morir.
Okay, ¿puedes decirlo más fuerte porque no me acuerdo?
Que sé que si explico mi experiencia, eso va a complacer a Krishna, por eso lo estoy haciendo.
Okay. So he wants to share the experience so that he can please Krishna and preach to others.
Okay.
Entonces, ya que te sabes la historia, yo te la voy diciendo más fácil. Yo estaba dormido y de repente una electricidad en todo el cuerpo. Inmediatamente que...
Alright, he was asleep and he felt like some electricity in his body.
Inmediatamente supe que me había muerto.
And he was aware that he had left the body.
Y entonces empecé a cantar Hare Krishna.
And he started chanting Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, y buscando a Krishna.
And he was seeking for Krishna.
Entonces sentía que seguía saliendo y era en todo oscuro.
And so he felt like he was like leaving the body and everything was dark.
Y yo seguía diciendo Hare Krishna, Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna todo el tiempo.
But he kept on chanting.
Y de repente sentí que volvía a hacerlo.
And then he felt like he came back to the body.
Y cuando entré al cuerpo es diferente. O sea, allí es como más libre.
And so when he went back to the body, he felt different because outside of the body there's like more freedom.
Entonces, la conclusión mía es que en ese tiempo yo tenía un maestro espiritual antes.
So he came to the realization that he had a spiritual master a long time ago.
Pero abandonó el servicio.
But he stepped down of his service.
Entonces, en ese momento yo no estaba iniciado.
But back then he wasn't initiated.
Entonces, la conclusión es que si no estás iniciado, aunque llames a Krishna, porque había escuchado antes, cuando me hice devoto hace muchos años,
Okay, so when you're not initiated, even if you call from Krishna, if you're looking for Krishna at the time of death,
que si tú estás cantando Hare Krishna, te va donde Krishna.
but he thought that when he started in the movement, he thought that just by chanting and looking for Krishna, then you would like attain liberation.
Pero la conclusión es que como no estaba iniciado, Krishna, el único que me podía volver al cuerpo, porque ya estaba muerto.
So after he received initiation, he realized that the only one that could like give him liberation was actually Krishna by grace, and because he already had left the body, and so by grace.
Uh-huh.
Y en poco tiempo, Krishna hizo el arreglo de que me iniciara.
And then soon after that event where he left the body, soon after he received initiation again.
Hare Krishna.
Thank you. Thank you very much for sharing that. Yeah. Wonderful. All right. Any other comments, questions, stories?
I guess I have one quick question
Please.
about the Sat Chakra Yoga,
Yeah.
or I guess just the state of yogas in general. So to Bhakti Yoga, does the actual state of an individual's chakra matter? Because I know that, you know, chakras can have blockages, you know, some can be undeveloped and so forth. Does the actual state of our chakras matter at all? Or is it cosmetic or something?
Right. Yeah. Thank you. So, in the ultimate end, no, it doesn't. Some people, like I practice physical Ashtanga yoga regularly in my home. It's not part of the, you don't need it for bhakti yoga. I do it because it helps my body and it helps my mind. After I do physical yoga, then I sit and chant japa. I sit and chant Krishna's name with my beads. And I just find that my body and mind are a bit more focused after I've done some physical yoga practice. So Ashtanga yoga might be used as a tool, but it is not the practice in bhakti yoga. Does that help? Yeah. If that works for you, then sure. You drive a car, it helps you get from one place to the next, so you can use it as an aid. It helps me just in terms of keeping my body healthy. My mind also it helps me to center my mind so that when I do engage in my bhakti practice, there's some focus there.
I guess I was thinking, this day of our being, on some level, it's going to be reflected in our chakras. So if you're emotionally distraught,
right,
or if you're really sick, or all kinds of different conditions, if you're just not a loving person, all kinds of things are going to be reflected in the chakra. So I was just wondering if an appraisal of that is ever taken in terms of the quality of an individual.
Yeah. So good question. And so you might use that as your kind of diagnostic tool, but you can do bhakti yoga independently. You will go through the steps and the purification, and chakras will be undergoing a process of purification without the bhakti yoga necessarily sitting down, doing the pranayam, moving the chakras, clearing them, but definitely purification is taking place through the bhakti yoga practice itself. And there will be hurdles along the way, and there will be challenges, and there will be prayer, and there will be dark nights of the soul. And so all of that process will be taking place either this way or that way. Bhakti yoga will lead the soul through that purificatory journey.
Okay, thank you.
Yes.
So, earlier you mentioned that we all address each other based upon the bodily aspect that we see, whatever thin or fat or however you are. When a person passed away, or let's say during your lifetime, you're attracted to whatever service you're doing. So let's say, for instance, a devotee loves to worship the deities, pujaari service, another devotee loves chanting or kirtan and so forth. And at the time of death, they pass away. Now, the soul still has a subtle body, which means you just give up the physical body. Now, let's say now I'm like, oh my God, I have to get my service done, I have to do my pujaari service, the deity is waiting for me. Would that individual go back where the deity is, or like go back and engage in kirtan for a moment because the attachment is there during, because you're conditioned to your attachment activity as well. So would the soul go back and participate in any way before they move on? Because there is another, there are stages of people who perform pious activity or devotional service. There are times when they will move on, when the soul will move on. Like some people would move on within an hour. Depends upon the advancement of their spiritual practice. Some people may take a day or 3 days or 10 days or a year, depends.
Yeah.
So would there be any kind of way where the soul goes back with the subtle body to go back to like pujaari service or kirtan or whatever?
Possible. Yeah. So the soul's journey is individual, unique, complex. So ideally, the soul moves on.
Right.
It's carried.
The nature, right.
Yeah, it moves on, and it moves on to the spiritual world. But yeah, there may be lingering that takes place for material or devotional, some purificatory purpose. Otherwise, the lingering may take the soul even to another body for a longer period or a short period. Sometimes devotees, they might lose a child, and the way that they will make sense of it to themselves or in their community, they'll say, that's a devotee who just had a little bit more time that they needed to be in the material nature, and now they're released. They've moved on. So yeah, it can be like that. So I just want to conclude by emphasizing something that Prabhupada would highlight, and that is, he would say that so there's one verse in particular Indra Maharaj likes to quote, Tatikshava Kurunika Suhrina Saravanehinam Ajata Shatrava Shanta Sadhava Sadhubhushana. For one who engages in devotional service, all these qualities, divine qualities, become like their natural ornaments. Tolerance, compassion, friendship towards all living beings, non-envy, peacefulness. These are the natural ornaments for the devotee. How do they come? Naturally. They become natural ornaments for the devotee. And so the practices of hearing and chanting and remembering Krishna, they bring these ornaments naturally to the devotee. Why? Because Krishna is the most tolerant, the most compassionate, the dearest friend, the most peaceful. And so as we embody devotion, as we embody that love for Krishna, then these qualities of Krishna also become the character of the devotee. And that happens naturally. It doesn't require a satchakra effort or mechanical effort. These things, they are bestowed upon the devotee by Krishna's grace or by Krishna's presence in the heart and in the consciousness of the devotee. Naturally manifest. And so, yeah, in Satchakra, you need to endeavor to cultivate these things. In Bhakti Yoga, these qualities are gifted, they are bestowed upon the Bhakta. All right, Satchakra and Bhakti Yoga.
Ki Jai.
We'll have a little more kirtan. You gonna come and play Mridanga? Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Hare Ram, Ram Ram.
Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare.
Bhagavata Purana Prabhu ki,
Jai.
Ishwari Devi ki,
Jai.
Samaveta Bhakta ki,
Jai.
Gaur Purnamdi.
Shri Prabhupada ki jai.
Yeah.
Thank you so much.